How's the weather, PokeCast? Gengar here. So, it's been a while. I'm finally getting around to doing this. So, this is the PCBL 7 draft analysis for Season 7. That's why the 7's there. So, I'm your host, Gengaraichu, and if you don't know me already, or if you're new, I guess I'm now the analyst for PCBL 7, and I do other draft league stuff sometimes, maybe. But, a couple things. First of all, before we get into the video itself, if you hear any noises in the background, ignore them. And yeah, that's actually all I needed to say. So let's get right into it. So, how did this little draft work? Well, it's not little. There's 16 teams. So yeah, all 16. It's a snake draft, first 16, 16 to 1. Points draft. I'm not going to get into specifics about how many points everyone got or tiers or whatever, because I don't care, and neither do you. And that's actually all that we need to be said here. Let's get right into Team 1 of 16. I'm going to try and be pretty brief with all the teams. I'm not going to try and spend 20 minutes talking about each team because that would take a while. I'm just going to cover some points about each team, give my general thoughts, give a grade, and move on. Just so this video isn't an hour and a half long. It'll probably end up being one of those lengths anyway, but let's move forward. So, I'm going to be going in draft order here, so starting at the very first pick of the draft, and for first #1 spot in general, we have Fadaki, coach of the Blackthorn Boombursts. So, the team here consists of Mega Mawile, Garchomp, Zapdos, Umbreon, Slowbro, Salazzle, Superior, Hitmonchan, Unpheasant, Alolan Sandslash, Diancie, and Ribombee. So, a couple things about this team. First of all, I think that's the Mega Slowbro Pokemon Shuffle icon instead of the Slowbro icon, so my apologies, that is normal Slowbro. The first round of the draft was Mega, so the Mega was a required pick, and I think Fadaki picked a great Mega to kick off his draft with in the form of Mawile. Mawile's just insane, in all honesty, you know, combined like Intimidate, it's great Steel Fairy typing. Just Swords Dance and other kind of different unique sets that it could run. It's definitely something that I always prepare for a lot if I'm ever in a matchup against Mega Mawile. Very good hazard control. You know, you got a bunch of reliable setters and like Diancie and Garchomp, and a bunch of reliable removers and like Hitmonchan, like Sandslash, Zapdos. So, and I guess Superior if you want to run Defog Superior, but that's pretty uncommon, but definitely doable. You know, overall typings are very good. I don't know how I feel about Unpheasant, but I'm sure Zach will find many a way to prove me wrong. I don't really see too many issues here. The wish support on Umbreon is very nice to heal up those bulky threats like Mawile, Garchomp, and the only the only thing I can really think of is like Sandslash, like Alolan Sandslash without any hail is a little weird. Like, it's not as nearly as reliable when you don't have like hailed support and get that slush rush boost. But I mean, I'm sure there are some uses that he might get out of it, but that's definitely not one of his monsters he's going to be bringing every week. Nice offensive presence, nice bulk, you know, Umbreon, Slowbro, those two in particular. Mawile can be very bulky if it needs to be, so overall very good team. I like most of the picks, with the exception of like, you know, Unpheasant and Sandslash, but I'm sure they have their uses, so I'm really liking this team. I think Zach is going to be doing very well at PCBL 7. So in terms of a grade, I figured I might as well kick things off with a very good team, and so kicked off with a very good grade. I gave Zach an A. I think overall his team is very good. All of these teams are very good, in all honesty. Like, I think the lowest grade was a B. So, like, I'm trying my hardest not to be repetitive when I say all this stuff, so you're going to be hearing this team is very good quite frequently, but this team is just, you know, great support, and like Mawile, Garchomp, Zapdos, and Salazzle is great offensive presence, and then that bulk, you know, like I mentioned in Umbreon and Slowbro, so overall, excellent team, and I expect him to do very well, Zach, so great. That's an A grade for the Blackthorn, Boomburst, and Fadaki. Alright, so moving on, our second team in the draft, we have Kenneth, coach of the Violet City Vulpixes. His team consists of Mega Blastoise, Volcanion, Milotic, Politoed, Ludicolo, Lantern, Gastrodon, Kingdra, Swanna, Caracosta, Crawdon, and Bibarel. So I'm gonna kick the elephant out of the room here for 1 second. Yes, this is a mono water type team, and quite a good one at that. You know, I've never drafted a mono type team before, nor have I ever had to grade one. So I had to think about what it took to make a good water type team. And honestly, in my eyes, the most important thing was covering all the resistances of the chosen type. So water's water's weaknesses are electric and grass. So when you look at electric, you have Ludicolo as a resist along with Kingdra, and then like you have 2 immunities in Volt Absorb, Lantern, and Gastrodon being a ground type. And so that's pretty good. And then in terms of grass type resists and immunities, you have Volcanion, you have Ludicolo, you have Swanna, and you have Kingdra again. So overall, I think you did a pretty good job of patching up those weaknesses that water types share in common. But you know, being a water type team, you still have a lot of common weaknesses, and like people are going to take advantage of them. Like, for example, with Gastrodon, it may be immune to thunder or electric type attacks, but it is 4 times weak to water type attacks. Or, sorry, 4 times weak to grass type attacks. So, you know, Rindo berries for grass type attacks and Wakan berries for electric type attacks are going to be more frequent on this team than in other teams. And however, I must say Kingdra is an amazing pickup for this team, you know, resisting both electric and grass, and you know, providing just like this big like offensive rain sweeper that can just tear holes through teams if left unchecked. And of course, I do have some gripes with this team. My first one is with the Mega. I think Blastoise is fine. I don't think it's great. It's not the worst Mega in the world, and maybe for budgetary reasons you wanted to pick up this over my preferred suggestion, which would have been Mega Swampert. I feel like Swampert would have been, you know, just a little bit better for the mono water team. It gives you another physical breaker for like the rain team that you have with Politoed, and overall I think, and it gives you another electric immunity. So I feel like Swampert would have been a little better, but of course I totally respect your decision of Blastoise. It can be very strong in and of itself. It gives you strong hazard removal and the like. And you know, in this team, hazard removal isn't as important, as you only have a couple of mons that are weak to rocks, mainly only Volcanion and Swanna. And Swanna isn't a mon you're going to be bringing every week, but I can definitely see Volcanion being a potent threat, helping deal with those grass types that this team can struggle with. Ludicolo is actually kind of a highlight here. He can, he's like Kingdra, he's neutral with both electric and grass. So, you know, he can set up rain with like Rain Dance and just do some really wacky stuff with it. I think some underrated mons on his team are Crawdon and Bibarel. Both, you know, Bibarel gets a simple, I believe, so he can get to +4, I believe, quite quickly. And Crawdon can also be a potent Swords Dance, you know, or like a Choice Banded user in the rain, or even without the rain, he can still be a very strong attacker. And this team isn't without its bulk. You know, Melodic and Lantern, Gastro, all are pretty bulky mons, along with Blastoise and sometimes Volcanion if you're running like an Assault Vest set. So this team overall is pretty good, both offensively and defensively, but of course my gripes are like, it's a mono water type team. It has resistance, it has weaknesses that are going to be exploited and used to your disadvantage, Ken. But overall, I think you did a pretty good job. This is one of the better mono type teams I've seen. But because of those gripes, I decided to give your team a B. So overall, pretty nice work. So just a couple of things I feel like could really make this team a whole lot better. So moving on, third pick, we got Shredfang, or Darby as he's more known as in the PCBL server, and the Snow Point Slashers, rocking his team of Mega Sceptile, Weavile, Empoleon, Donphan, Gliscor, Nidoking, Ninetales, Cloyster, Dusknoir, Jirachi, Electivire, and Braviary. Overall, I like this team. I think it's very, very good. With all these teams, I didn't exactly like get to look at like speed tiers. Those are like the one thing in all these teams I didn't really get to cover. But I can tell this, like, just based off my general knowledge, I can tell this team is pretty good in that aspect. Bonus points to Darby for hooking me up with my new favorite Pokemon Shuffle sprite with Empoleon. Kind of looks like his he realized his barista only put 3/16 pump cream in his coffee instead of the 7/16 that he asked for. But moving on, very nice hazard support in form of Donphan and Gliscor, both being very reliable removers and setters, both in their own right. Gengaraichu can also be a very potent Stealth Rock setter along with Empoleon. Empoleon is also the best defogger in the game, so it's very nice. Also has some very nice offensive presence. We know Mega Sceptile being a strong special attacker, Weavile being a very strong physical attacker. Nidoking can be a little more flexible, but Sheer Force Life Orb is definitely what it's more known for. Ninetales and Electivire are also a little underrated. You know, Choice Band and Electivire can be very strong, along with like Nasty Plot, Ninetales, and also some setup potential in like Shell Smash, Gliscor. And this team isn't perfect. I wish like that instead of Dust Noir, you could have picked up maybe Dusclops. Now, of course, I have to think about budgetary reasons. I didn't get to check in on that, but I feel like Dusclops is just way better than Dust Noir in general. It's bulkier, and basically provides the same role as Dust Noir, just, you know, just a little bit better. You know, Violite is what makes that good, or Eviolite, or however you pronounce it. But I really like the team overall. You do have a bit of a common weakness to Ice, in the form of 2 4x weaknesses in Gliscor and Mega Sceptile, and then weaknesses with Donphan, Nidoking, and Braviary. Some of like your more like important mons. But you did do a good job of providing resistances to those in form of Empoleon, Gengaraichu, Cloyster, and Ninetales. So just be wary that HP Ices may be a little more common, just to look out for those when you have them like your Sceptile in on like a Tapu Koko or something. And Gengaraichu is actually really good for this team because it provides wish support that can heal up like Donphan and any modern team really that could use the support. And I think Gengaraichu is a very flexible and really cool mon that can be used for a lot of different roles, both offensive and defensive. But yeah, this team is pretty self-explanatory. I think there's not really a bad pick other than that Dust Noir I mentioned. But so in the end, I gave this team an A-. Don't worry, this is not the first A- that you will see. There are multiple A- on this list, so yeah, I'd say overall, good job, Darby, and I hope to see you do well. So, the next team, the fourth team in the draft is Coach Oak, coach of the Icky Town Incineroar, with his team of the Mega Medicham, Tapu Koko, Hydreigon, Ferrothorn, Hawlucha, Pelipper, Slurpuff, Nidoqueen, Beartick, Kabutops, Typhlosion, and Linoon. First of all, what a Fairy Dragon Steel Core in the form of Koko, Hydreigon, and Ferrothorn. Like, Jesus, that's like insane, along with Koko Lucha, which is also insane. You know, you can Electric Seed, get your defense up, unburden, double your speed, get a Swords Dance up, and just destroy a team. And then you have like Pelipper, like a bunch of like good defog support. Mega Medicham is destructive force. Slurpuff is very underrated. You also have your bulk and like Ferrothorn and Nidoqueen. I do have a couple of complaints though, mainly with his last 4 picks, with the exception of Typhlosion, mainly Beartick, Kabutops, and Linoon. I mean, maybe for budgetary reasons, but I feel like there could have been other mons you could have picked. I really don't like Beartick without a Hail Setter, which you do not have. Kabutops is okay, like it can be like a okay Sword Dance sweeper, especially if you have Pelipper, which you do. So if you can bring the Pelipper, Kabutops, Rain Core, I can definitely see where that could come in handy. But Linoon is just very predictable. You know, I can tell you exactly what set you're gonna run if you run Linoon. You're gonna run Belly Drum, Figgy Berry, Extreme Speed, you know, Shadow Claw if you have if your opponent has a Ghost type, and just some other coverage move that could be helpful. But like, if you can pull it, if you can get the Belly Jump up without any like opposition or like roars or whirlwinds or damaging moves that kill them, then yeah, you can destroy teams with that. But like, if like it's just so predictable that your opponent's just gonna run like Roar or Whirlwind on like 1 or 2 mons, and then that'll be Linoon dealt with. So that's like my only like really complaint. Other than that, great hazard control. You know, Ferrothorn's one of the best hazard stackers in the format, and Pelipper is an okay defogger, but yeah, other than the whole Beartick and Linoon complaints and a little bit of Kabutops. I really like this team. I think it's gonna definitely put in some work in the right matchups. So in the end, I gave this team an A minus. Like I said, this is not the first time you're gonna see that. Definitely not the last. So great job, Coach Oak. I haven't gotten to see you play too much. However, I believe we were in the DGBA for a season. So yeah, A minus for the Ikitown Incineroar. Moving on, we're going to be taking a look at our 5th team here. We got Isaac, coach of the something Glaceons. Is that Soyaceon? I don't know. I probably should have asked him, but oh well. DM me, Isaac, after this video goes up so you can tell me what that first word was. But he drafted a team of Mega Beedrill, Azumarill, Rotom-Mow, Azelf, Crocodile, Tornadus, I think that's Incarnate, Doublade, Ferrothorn. That's not a Ferrothorn, that's a Fortress, Tyrantrum, Primeape, Flareon, and Glaceon. So, overall, I think this is a very offensive team, which I can get behind. You know, Mega Bee, Azumarill, Rotom, like, Crocodile, Tornadus. Like, this is a very offensive team. You know, even, like, Flareon and Glaceon, Primeape, and Tyrantrum. Like, everything but, like, Doublade. And even Doublade could be offensive. And, but, like, Fortress is not very offensive at all, but I love Mega B. It's like one of my favorite Megas, like overall, just in general. So I love seeing it drafted in this season. And one thing I'll say is you have a lot more. I mean, looking at it now, like it's not a big of a deal, but like Mega B, Mega B, Drill, Azumarill, Tyrantrum, Crocodile, sort of Tornado sometimes, and Primeape are all physical attackers, while your special attackers are also Doublade, while your special attackers are Rotom-Mow, Azelf, and Glaceon. So, like, your opponents may want to, like, run more physical walls to help deal with your offensive Pokemon while opposed to your specials, so just keep that in mind. Another thing is, other than, like, Fortress and maybe Doublade, if you like, it still has the Eviolite, you have a noticeable lack of bulk. Like, I think Azumarill's okay, but, like, when you think about, like, Mega B, Rotom, like Primeape, both of the Evolutions, and Azelf, they are known for their defense. So just like wall breakers, or like if Fortress gets knocked out, then like a powerful offensive Mon can just like sweep potentially. So just keep that in mind. But I do really like there's not a bad Mon on this team. Like I think just even like Glaceon, just like a spec set can be very good. Like, and I do appreciate that you picked up your mascot. So I think all these Mons work very well with each other. And overall, I think you did a very good job. So I gave you a grade of B+, just for your, you know, lack of bulk and bit of physical bias in your attackers. But overall, I know you are a very good player, so I'm sure you definitely have your ways of making this team work. So that is that. Moving on to the next team, it is the Saffron Shuppets and Coach Matrix, but you also notice Eevee in parentheses. So Matrix is the man that drafted this team. However, he actually, according to some family issues, had to drop out, I believe, after his Week 1 game, which I have yet to watch. I have not watched any of the Week 1 games, honestly. I did not want those to affect my commentary at all here, but Matrix, if you're watching this, I think I speak for all of PCBL saying that whatever is going on inside your life, we hope you get better soon, and we hope to have you back, hopefully for another season, or just around in general. Miss you, man. But anyway, so Eevee will be playing, Eevee Master 2013, if you don't know, will be playing for this season, so he may not be the Saffron Shuppets, maybe whatever his team name is, but anyway, let's get to the team itself. The team consists of Mega Houndoom, Celesteela, Zygarde 50%, Suicune, Florges, Serena, Lycanroc Dusk form, Excelgor, Raichu, Alolan Ninetales, Meloetta, and Toxicroak. This team is very nice. Celesteela and Zygarde are obviously very good, you know, attackers and defenders. Like, they're both very versatile, very good mods, draft league format. So, cheers to Matrix for picking both of those up pretty early on, but still, I know he was surprised that both of those got to him. And while those are very good offensive mons, you know, he has very good bulk in, like, Suicune, Florges, and anything, really, if he can get Aurora Veil up, which I will get to in a second. I also like Mega Houndoom. I think it's pretty underrated. I haven't used it myself, but what I've seen of it so far, I think it can definitely put in some work if used correctly. You know, you have, like, your U-turns, like, your Volt Turn core, I believe, with Raichu and Excelgor, so overall, I really like this team. A couple of complaints. I don't like Serena at all. I think it's pretty mediocre grass type, in my honest opinion. I know people might disagree with me, but it's my opinion. So, but other than that, there isn't a bad mon on this team. Like even down like Toxic Croak and Excelgor, like they can have their own very niche good roles. But let's talk about Aurora Veil real quick. Alola Ninetales signature move. I think Sensei get it too, but Ninetales is definitely the more known user. It just like helps this team so much. You know, it helps cover up like Celesteela can just tank any move. Honestly, like past that, you know, Houndoom can take Earthquakes better, and Zygarde can take HP Ices better, and Suicune can just set up substitutes and not have them break at a Thunderbolt, or just like combined with Florges can just like wall anything and just like Toxic Stall it, or you know, there's a lot of things that Aurora Veil does for this team, and I think it's such an amazing pickup, especially so late in the draft. So credit to Matrix for getting that really early on, or late on, I should say, and just definitely building a team that's works really well with the Hail Aurora Veil combo. So, I'm gonna take a drink of water. I'm not gonna edit out because I don't care. Anyway, so in terms of grade, I give Steam an A-. The only thing I could really talk about is the Serena, and just like overall, just like maybe this team deserved an A. Maybe it did. But like also, you don't really have a lot of like hazards. Like I don't really think Lycanroc is the best hazard setter, and your removal isn't really there. Like, do you have any removal? I don't think you have any hazard removal, which is kind of important when you have them on like or Mega Houndoom that kind of likes to move in and out and just clean up when necessary. But well, you know, Excelgor is very good at setting up spikes at least, so that could be pretty good. So for that reason, and also for Serena, which I think is pretty mediocre, I gave this team an A-. Moving on, we have one of the staples of the PCBL himself, Mr. Tangle of Boots, coach of the Azure Bay Aircutters. And his team consists of Mega Diancie, Latias, Scissor, Shaman, Tentacruel, Mamoswine, Normal Rotom, Entei, Miltank, Ninjask, Pissimian, and Frogadier. I like this team. I like all of the teams, but every time I read the team off, I always have to follow with I like it or this team is good. It's very defensive. It's very Troy-like. You know, a couple of staples like Scissor and Miltank are definitely. I think Miltank was Tango's franchise, funny enough, but it's a very good overall. It's very good defensive options. Like I said, Miltank and Scissor and Tentacruel and Shaman and Latias. I don't like normal Rotom all that much. I think they're better ghost types, but as a fast electric type, it can be a good volt switcher if need be. And one of the only other issues I can see with this team is kind of a lack of wall breakers. Like Entei and Mamo can do that job okay, but like you have to be running like Life Orb or Choice Band like on both of those to make them work, and they're both physical. So like if you run into like a physical like or a special wall, you're gonna have a really hard time like busting through that. Or just like a really defensive mon, you're gonna have a lot of time like breaking through that. You're gonna have to like Toxic Stall them or just like have a really slow game, which another mon could like take over, and that could cause problems for you. A couple of underrated mons in this draft. I think Ninjask and Pissimian could both be very good, especially Ninjask since speed passing I believe is allowed by itself without any other stats. So like speed passing into like Latias or Mamoswine or Entei can be devastating for your opponents, but I like Mega Diancie a lot. Its magic bounce ability is incredible for like bouncing back hazards or like Toxics or Will-O-Wisps or whatever. And you know, Tentacruel is a good rapid spinner and also a good setup of Toxic Spikes. But overall, a very good defensive team. But I feel like your lack of wall breakers may, other than like Entei and Mamoswine, could prove to be a little bit harmful. But of course those are two very good wall breakers, but they're also both physical, so just be wary of that. And in the end, of course, the signature Gengaraichu A- for the Azure Bay Aircutters. I really like this team, and of course I know how good of a player Tangle Boots is, so I'm assuming he's going to do very well this season. So Moving on, we have Cav of the DGBA coming and showing up in PCBL and seeing what he can do. So we got a team of Mega Altaria, Greninja, I believe it's Protein, Infernape, Toxapex, Skarmory, Tapu Bulu, Silvally, all forms, Piloswine, Spiritomb, Mesprit, Kyogre, and Armaldo. God, this team's gross. Okay, so first of all, we'll talk about Toxapex and Skarmory. Just a really solid defensive core. You know, even, like, they're both weak to electric, but, like, you have, like, Piloswine, Bulu, and Altaria to deal with that. Very offensive Fire Water Grass core in the form of Tapu Bulu, Greninja, and Infernape. There's nothing wrong with that, and also a very defensive Fairy Dragon Steel core in the form of Skarmory, Altaria, and ignore that. Tapu Bulu, Skarmory, and Mega Altaria. They're not, okay, so maybe it's not super defensive, but it's definitely more defensive than other cores of the liking. Couple of things. Mesprit and Silvally are kind of mediocre in my opinion. I don't think that they're too great, but they definitely have their niche uses, especially if you can choose the right Silvally typing. But you know, Mesprit and maybe Spiritomb aren't exactly the best, but I definitely have seen them put in a lot of work, so I didn't really dock much for that. Altaria is great. I think it's a very good Mega paired with the right team, which this is. You know, its weaknesses are like Poison and Steel and Ice, which, funny enough, Toxapex and Mega Altaria is such a good combo. Like, you know, they're very good together. You know, Toxapex tanks all the moves that Altaria doesn't appreciate, and vice versa. So, also in terms of hazard control, you know, you have Rapid Spinner and Cryogonal. You have a very amazing Defogger and Hazard Stacker in the form of Skarmory, and a Rapid Spinner and Armaldo, and a Rocker and Armaldo, so, and a Rocker and Piloswine, so, you know, very fantastic hazard control, and, you know, very good defense, very good offense. This is just an amazing team. In fact, I thought it was so good, it warranted an A, my honest opinion. So, I really like this team, and I really expect Cav to do, definitely put in some work this season, so we'll see how he does. Moving on, Scout, otherwise known as Probopast, if you're in other servers with her. Coach of the Pokeball Go well, you know, drinking water. Welcome to the PCBL, you get professional content here. No, don't get sick now. Pelago Probopasses, what a fun team name to say. Mega Banette, Raikou, Haxorus, Sylveon, Conkeldurr, Licky, Bronzong, Quagsire, Landorus, Incarnate Form, only Sandforce, Rapidash, Vileplume, and Rotom Wash. So, a couple of things. I think Mega Banette is very underappreciated Mega. I think Scout really just took this opportunity to draft a bunch of mons that she really wanted to use, and, you know, a little more unconventional picks, but I definitely like Mega Banette, and I think it could be, not the best Mega ever, but I think it could be pretty good. I literally have my notes written down, hashtag Licky Life. You know, Licky is surprisingly good, you know, with support, very bulky, I think it's a rocker, I think it provides stealth rock support, and it's just so silly, but also so good. Sylveon is very good for this team, it's very good bulky, very type, it provides other, again, like Licky wish support that can help heal up, like Haxorus, Conkeldurr, Raikou, Lando. He has some fast mons like Raikou, Rapidash, and Haxorus, if you can get a Dragon Dance up. Some nice bulk, and like I already mentioned Sylveon, Conkeldurr, Bronzong, Quagsire. Quagsire is very good if like unaware, if your opponent's like sub-sweeping you. Overall, I think this team's very good. I don't know how I feel about Vileplume. I never thought it was particularly like good in any sense of the word, but you know, sure, Scout's pretty innovative. She could figure out a way to thrust it into a team and prove me wrong. Yeah, so there's not too much I wanted to talk about this one. It's pretty just, you know, a team with a bunch of mons you don't see too frequently, but definitely are not unplayable. So I gave this team a B+. I definitely think Scout's a very good battler, and she can definitely put to work this season. I think she won a season of this league, so. And I am in full support of her in the PCBL chat, so I hope she does well. So with that, let's move on to Blake Trout, coach of the Miss Charlton Swannas, with Mega Venusaur, Heatran, Manaphy, Togekiss, Kyurem, Gallade, Manectric, Pinsir, Drapion, Hoopa, Unbound, Claydol, and Stoutland. I hate this team so much because it's really good. Honestly, in my honest opinion, and I'm gonna honestly say, I'm gonna say honestly one more time. Honestly, Blake has the best Fire Water Grass core in the league. Mega Venusaur, Heatran, Manaphy, and also a very solid Fairy Dragon Steel core with Kyurem, Togekiss, and Heatran. You know, a bunch of good rockers and the Heatran, Pinsir, Claydol, a bunch of removers, and, you know, Togekiss, I think it's a fine remover. It's not great, and also Claydol is a rapid spinner. And removal isn't the best, but I'll let it slide because bulk is on point. You know, Mega Venusaur, Heatran, Manaphy sometimes, like Kyurem, Claydol, Drapion, all very pretty good bulky mons. You know, like I already said in my notes, more removal would be good. Third to last round, Hoopa Unbound. That was kind of surprising. Like I didn't even notice. I just assumed it'd already be taken when Blake announced it, like third to last round. So surprising, but I mean maybe budgetary reasons. It's a couple of fringe picks. You know, Pinsir and Manectric. You don't see normal Manectric too often. Pinsir is pretty common, but you know, just a good stealth rocker and just a good U-turner. Actually, Pinsir Manectric is a good Volt Turn core there. But, yeah, this team's just really good. And now that I'm talking about it out loud, I'm actually going to change my grade. I originally had this team in an A-, but I'm actually going to move it up to an A. I'm not going to edit that in, because why would I? But yeah, I'm just going to move that up to an A. Now that I'm talking about it again, this team's just really good, and I totally expect Blake to do well with it. So yeah, good on you, Blake. Changing my mind, despite not even implementing it in any meaningful manner. Alright, Luke, and the Humlau Hustlers. Mega Charizard X, Landotherian, Magearna, Starmie, Mew, Alolan Muck, Kofagrigus, Ferrezion, that's a word, Electabuzz, Comfey, Avalugg, and Kecleon. Holy offensive presence back, man. Lando T and Magearna is just a really solid core that needs to be talked about. You know, Magearna takes those ice moves that Lando doesn't like, and Lando takes those ground moves that Magearna doesn't like, and Mega Charizard X is very good. Starmie and Mew Mew is very versatile along with Ferrezion, and God, I need to breathe, and you know, Choice Band Muck. Breathe! Sorry. So, other than that, you have a bunch of very, like, reliable, like, healing support, and, like, Comfey, and Mew, like, I think Mew can run Wish, and, you know, just good defensive options in Mew, Muck, Kofagrigus. One little downside, I understand that it's a meme, but Avalugg is not good. Stop saying it's good. It's not. Stop it. Stop it, DGA. Stop it, it all has its fault. All has from the DGA's fault. Ugh. This all has its fault. But yeah, you know, he has some more underrated mods like Kecleon and Electabuzz. Yeah, so, and Mew, like I said, Mew, Muck, and Kofag all provide the defense that this team really needed, so, honestly, this is worth an A in my opinion, so, yeah, that's all I'm really going to say. You know, I also briefly mentioned Mega Charizard X just being a really solid physical setup sweeper, and also just a good physical attacker in general, so, that he built around quite well, so, good on you, Luke. I don't know how long this video is, and I don't really care. Strumpful and the Mount Silver Menses. Holy crap, this team. Mega Aerodactyl, Kyurem Black. Mega Aerodactyl, Kyurem Black, Tapu Fini, Reuniclus, Thunderous Incarnate, Amoonguss, Cobalion, Volcarona, Alolan Persian, Stunfisk, Pyukumuku, and Munchlax. This team has it all. It has great offensive presence. Arrow, Mega Arrow, Kyurem Black, you know, Cobalion, Volcarona, other stuff. Good breakers, as previously mentioned, Kyurem Black, Arrow, and Cobalion, and Volcarona, whatever. Walls, the form of Amoonguss, Reuniclus, Tapu Fini, maybe, Pyukumuku. Hazards and removal, Mega Arrow, Cobalion, Tapu Fini, one of the best defoggers in the format, you know what I'm saying? And then stupid meme picks, you know, Munchlax, Stunfisk. This team has it all. What more could you want? It has great type coverage. It has great. There's no like, not that many different types. This team is great, and honestly, I think it's so great. I think it's worth Gengar's coveted A+ ranking. Yes, Strumpf is an amazing battler. He has an amazing team, and honestly, he's making playoffs. I'm already predicting that now. Strumpf is the one person I can confirm is making playoffs. So, don't let me down, Strumpf. Don't do it, or I'll fly out to Sweden. I don't know. Moving on, Metro, coach of the Evergrande Electros. Mega Gardevoir, Aegislash, Zoroark, Arcanine, Snorlax, Keldeo, Staraptor, Gliscor, Pikachu, Decidueye, Dragalge, and Mudsdale. So, the team's a little more defensive than other teams we've seen, you know. Just the overall little lack of an offensive presence, you know. You still have your offensive mons, Mega Gardevoir, Keldeo, Decidueye, but it's Staraptor, of course, a very offensive mon. And Aegislash can be both. So, yeah, but this is definitely a bit more defensive of a team. And overall, I just think that the mon quality here is a little lower than other teams. You know, like, you have, like, Aegislash is very good, don't get me wrong. You have, like, Zoroark and Arcanine. Both are good mons. They just seem to be a little lower than, like, anything else I've seen. And I hope my voice isn't too nasally. I feel like it's way too nasally, though. But, you know, I really like Snorlax. I think Snorlax is one I've yet to draft, but I really want to, because it's really good. Don't be afraid to run Curselax. I know that everyone will hate you. Just don't be afraid if you need to win. Cut the Pikachu. Just find something else. You're never going to use it, and if you do use it, it's never going to be good. I mean, if you want to prove me wrong, go for it, but, like, yeah, you know, your cores are there. I just feel like the mon quality overall is a little lower. You do have a really good hazard support, and, you know, Gliscor and Dragalge providing very good, but I don't know, there's just something about this team when I look about it. It just doesn't seem like, I just don't like it as much as other teams. So I gave it a B. Maybe I'd bring it up to a B+, talking about it out loud. Maybe it's a little harsh to just give it a B. But that's my opinion. I don't know why, I just can't explain why this team kind of bothers me so much. But prove me wrong. That's what I'm saying to all these coaches. Prove me wrong about any criticisms I have. So, I believe we have 3 more teams left. The next one being Ian. I believe, isn't he like founder of the PCBL or something? Fuchsia City Rose Raids. You got the team consisting of you know that, Megalopony, Porygon 2, Blacephalon, Yanmega, Slowking, Rose Raid, Excadrill, Mimikyu, Druddigon, Poipole, Lycanroc, Diet Form, and Electros. Shout out to Ian for having the least amount of having the most amount of Pokemon without Pokemon Shuffle icons, so I had to go on the internet and actually like find pictures of them. I really appreciate that. But to the actual team itself, very good offensively, you know, Blacephalon, Mimikyu, Excadrill, Megalopony, he's a monster. Also pretty good defensively, in the form of like Slowking and Druddigon and Rose Raid. You know, overall just being like pretty good bulk. You know, some hazard support. You know, Druddigon I think gets Stealth Rocks, and Rose Raid can set up spikes and Toxic Spikes, and Porygon is just, I'm going to bring up Porygon again, this is very nice. I think it's one of the best normal types other than Snorlax in draft format, so. A couple of things though, I don't know how I feel about Poipole. I've yet to actually see it be played, because it's not very good. But, yeah, so we'll see how that goes, along with Lycanroc. I don't think its Titan form is that great. I actually think Electros is pretty good here. You know, when you draft its best counter in the form of Excadrill, Electros gets significantly better. So, overall, I think I really like Blacephalon, and this team is just very good, like, offensively, and has a nice defense, and just a couple of confusing picks, though. But, overall, A-, just like a lot of other teams. So, I've yet to actually, I don't know too much about, like, Ian as a battler, but I can imagine he's pretty good, so we'll see how Season 7 goes for him. So moving on, coach I had never heard of before this season started. We have Jimmy, otherwise known as Trick Room Chump, and the Aerostar Aromatisse. Drafting his team of Mega Glalie, Clefable, Weezing, Tangrowth, Registeel, Hippowdon, Aromatisse, Alalamola, Jumpluff, Togetic, Celebi, and Terrakion. Holy defense, Batman! Holy defense! I'm just gonna read like all of his defensive mons off again. Clefable, Weezing, Tangrowth, Registeel, Hippowdon, Aromatisse, Alola Mola. Oh, I need to breathe. You know, this team has a great wish support that will heal those defensive mons back up in the form of Aloe and Aromatisse and Clefable and, you know, Rockers and Registeel and the Hippowdon and just, So I think the only thing I can think of is like, of course you have a very defensive team, but like if you run into like another wall team, you may actually end up getting like outclassed by it's like other like walls, so you may have trouble breaking through them. Like Terrakion is nice if you're running like a Choice Banded set, and Glalie maybe I don't know too much about making Glalie, and not enough to form an opinion on it, but it just seems like kind of out of place. Like, it doesn't seem like when I look at all this team, and if you ask me what Mega they had chose, I probably would have told you not Glalie. Like, I would have just gone in all the 4 defense, and just, if I was drafting this team, and, like, I needed to decide on a Mega, I would have just gone Sableye. In all honesty, just go hard on the defense, block back those Toxics and other status moves that can wear this team down, but, you know, otherwise, pretty good. You know, just watch out for other defensive teams that might get you better abuse, so A- total. And overall, I don't know too much about Jimmy, so I'm curious to see how he does. So, we're here, the final team of the draft, pick 16 out of 16. We have IR Hunter, coach of the Valley Windwork Vespiquen. I'm surprised I'm going to say that right the first time. Mega Tyranitar, Flygon, Komodo, Victini, Magnezone, Primarina, Mismagius, Abomasnow, Crobat, Cinccino, Bisharp, and Vespiquen. Shout out for the mascot there at the end. This team is very offensive. You know, you have Flygon and Komodo and Victini and Tyranitar and Mismagius, all those very potent. And Bisharp is all set up attackers and sweepers. You don't have a lot of bulk on this team. Like, you have Mega Tyranitar, which is pretty bulky, and like Magnezone, if you're running an Assault Vest, that can be pretty defensive. And Victini can also be defensive well if you're running the correct set, but overall, just not a lot of just like natural bulk there. Like I mentioned, lots of setup potential. I like Cinccino. I think like a Choice Banded Skill Link set can be very dangerous if not prepped for correctly, and your hazard support's okay. Like you have Tyranitar is a good stealth rocker, and Crobat's an okay defogger, but like, and it's also not really necessary. Like when you have Vespiquen, Victini, and Abomasnow, a little more hazard support would be nice. So overall, a good team with some flaws. So take a guess. What's the grade? It's an A-. Yeah. God, all these A-minuses are making me sick. That's Hunter's team. Again, just like Jimmy, I don't know too much about Hunter as a player, but I definitely see all these teams putting in a lot of work and just overall being very good. I'm very excited for this season. So, having said that, we made it. We made it to the end. If you're still here, thanks for watching and listening to my terrible commentary all the way through. A couple things you'll find in the description. My Twitter. Follow me there if you aren't already. The PokeCast Twitter, the PokeCast website, where you can check in on the live updates, and YouTube for Glitch City, where this music comes from. So, overall, I'm very excited to see how PCBL 7 goes. I'm expecting some very great matches, and I am in full support of the Pelago promo passes all the way. So, Team Scout for life. Like I said, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye now.